Hi guys, welcome back to Let It Out with Sadiq. Our guest today is Lauren and Deana. For our viewers that don't know who you guys are, Lauren, could you please introduce yourself?
Oh yes, hello. I am Lauren Santarsiero. Tennis-wise, I played school at Sacred Heart University. I did Division One. I live in Rybrook right now, and I work at a TV production studio full time. And I'm 24.
Okay.
Yes, 24. 23.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Deana, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Deana. I'm 21. I go to Marist, also a Division One school. So
Okay.
I'm going to be a senior, and I'm majoring in psychology and social work. So that's probably what I'll go into after school.
Well, I got two D1 players next to me today. All right, so welcome to my podcast. So nice having you guys here. I've known
Thank
you
you
guys
for
for
having us.
a
Yeah,
long
thanks for
time
having
now,
us.
but I'm
I
so
know.
excited to have you guys here. So I'm gonna start with Lauren.
Okay.
How did you start playing tennis?
Oh man, so I have two bloopers. So I have two older sisters. My
Uh-huh.
oldest is 30 and my middle sister's 27. And when we were younger, we would all play. And I was just always so inspired by them. Like my middle sister's into fashion, my oldest sister's into writing. Like I just kind of molded their skills and attributes into mine. And I feel like I've just always looked up to them. So I started playing when we were literally like all 5 years old.
Oh wow.
And then I went into basketball. I did softball for a while,
Yeah.
soccer, and then in basketball, I guess I was just too good that the other girls on the team like fully like made this whole plan, and they were like, okay, we're gonna trip this girl. So I was like 13, 14, and they
Wow.
fully tripped me when I was on the court, and I broke my foot. I fractured my growth plate. Like I had a really bad injury in basketball. And as an overprotective dad, my dad was like, you're done with any physical sports, and you're just going to stick to tennis from now on. And then ever since then, it was only tennis.
So from 5 to 13, you played both basketball, you do multi-sport from
Yeah.
5 to 13, then at the age of 13, it's like, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
sticking to tennis.
Yeah, fully. I think the other sports too, like team-wise and commitment-wise, and just like learning how your body like moves and time management like helped me a lot, like moving forward after that into tennis full-time. So it ended up helping me in the long run, but then like really was the reason that I got into, tennis for life. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Deana, alrighty. How did you get into tennis? At what age?
Kind of similar to Lauren, like really young. I was 4. And my parents just like kind of enrolled me in like so many different things, like tennis, swimming, gymnastics, like you name it, they put me in it. And I was just literally terrible at everything other than tennis. It was like literally crazy. Nothing really kind of like clicked for me other than tennis. So I just like stuck with it, and I just really liked it, and then just kind of continued doing it and doing it.
Nice.
And then yeah.
You started a whole year before
A whole
me.
year,
No wonder why you're better than me. 4 versus 5.
Alright, so who is that person that inspires you in tennis, and what does that person do to inspire you? Could be like a player, top player, role model.
I definitely think like my parents for sure like had a huge like impact on me, because like I always saw how hard they worked, and just like I wanted to have something like that like I worked really hard at that like I wanted to do too. And then like literally like L2, like I'm not even kidding, like because Lauren was like my best friend, and like she was 3 years older than me, and I remember like when Lauren committed to college, like I wanted to do that too, like seriously. So yeah,
So
no, I just like
emotional. You have to take it over my podcast. Wow. Okay.
That's so funny.
But
Yeah,
how about Lauren? Who inspires
See,
you?
you were fully
No,
inspired me
really?
too. Like growing up and playing here at TI and like meeting each other so young. Like I feel like we really grew up together and helped each other learn the game. Like and just like the love that we have for each other, and like friendship wise, like sisterhood wise, I feel like we did really inspire each other. Like in real time, like fully. And then I think like outside of like real tennis, I guess I would say like my motivation would be Maria Sharapova.
Maria Sharapova.
Yeah, so like a real person inspiration, celebrity inspiration, Maria
Maria,
Sharapova.
what does she do that would
Yeah.
that would inspire you? I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of Maria. I know growing up in Nigeria, western part of Africa, people look up to a lot of players, Serena Venus, being a person of color. I can relate with Serena. I look up to Serena.
Right.
She looks like me, and outside of that, Maria Sharapova, from everything she's been through, I've been following her, a young tennis player. So she inspires me as well. But what does she do to inspire you? What do you see when you watch her play?
I think it's like, this is gonna sound silly, but like when I was younger, I feel like her demeanor, like it was less about tennis for me and like the way she carried herself on the court. Like I love fashion, and I think she always like wore the prettiest dresses, and she would straighten her hair, and I think like for me that was so inspiring to me to like feel beautiful on the court, and it motivated me in so many ways. And in college, like I would wear earrings, and I would like just put like so much makeup on, and like people wouldn't understand like, oh, you're going to play a sport, like you have a full face of makeup. And it was just something that like, and I would always like wear the skirts differently, or like a visor inside, and like braid my hair. And I feel like it was just something always that like helped me stay motivated on the court, and like touch like, or be in touch with like the fashion side, and like knowing that like if I looked good on the court, like I felt good, and it helped me play better. And so like just seeing her have like earrings and like just a cool like outfit on, and like really stepping outside of the norm of like what the tennis players were looking like, I think it helped me like stay motivated, that I could like keep in touch with like my fashion inspiration, and then like incorporate it with sports.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's so good
awesome.
to hear. That's awesome.
Aw,
That's good to
thanks.
hear. All right, so we're gonna go to D.
Okay.
Final year, married, D1 college. She's killing it. Doing amazing after her first 3 years, and she's about to go for a bigger city. So, D, I want to ask. So, how do you find balance? Over the past 3 years, how do you find balance between schoolwork and tennis?
It's definitely like really difficult for sure, because like it's like a full-time job, like 100%, like with like practice 6 days a week, lift in the morning, like conditioning, and then in the spring it's like basically matches every single weekend. So like it definitely gets challenging at times, but I feel like just like trying my best to stay on top of things, and like there are definitely like moments where like it does get hard, but like just kind of like having a good support system at home and like on campus is like really important, because like it can get overwhelming, but like I think for me it's worth it, because like I just love it so much.
Good. That's awesome. That's good to hear. A lot of like for me, I struggled with it when I was competing, but I can imagine how a lot of like other players, especially playing for D1, have to travel pretty much every week, right? Pretty much playing matches, practice in between and stuff. So D, I mean L. She graduated from a top D1 school. How did you do it? How did you accomplish that?
I think
School, 4 years of tennis, school all together, and you came out with a flying colors.
Oh, okay.
So-
No, she did.
Dang, I need to come on this podcast. Piggybacking off of what Deana said, I think it's the support system for sure. I had an amazing coach all 4 years, and I had an amazing team, and I think that's really what kept us all motivated. We literally loved each other like a family. I think when you go through something like a Division I sport, and the time commitment, and you have to have like love for what you're doing, and I think we all like really enjoyed the sport. Like even on a day off, we'd all text each other and be like, should we all go hit? Like it was just in our blood, and I think we had a really strong bond with like the men's team as well. So traveling with them, we would just really have such a fun time and keep it lighthearted, and also have like fun competition. And I think also like at tournaments and stuff, like all the parents would come. There were so many of them that like would bring food for us, and like take professional pictures, and like the parents and the support system that they showed was just like unwavering. And even when we would travel to like Florida, like all the parents would come. And I think it was just so family oriented at Sacred Heart, and that was like the biggest thing that I was looking for when trying to find like a place to play. And no one was like out for each other or like out for each other's spots. Like we all just really loved and supported one another. And school wise, I think the resources that our school gave us to have like study hall and study sessions, like they really wanted us to succeed. Knowing that tennis is a full-time job and commitment throughout college, they still knew that like academics come first as well, and like they did such a nice like job setting up those resources for us to succeed.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're gonna dive down to Deana. All right, what would you say some reasons like you like being a tennis player? What are any reasons you like to be a tennis player?
I think for me it just like really broke me out of my shell so much. Like when I was little, I was really like not that there's like anything wrong at all, but I think I was just more like to myself. I think a lot. And I think like tennis just totally like kind of broke my shell open, like with like kind of pushing yourself to like have to compete in front of people and like have to do things like just, you know, work together as a team, like all those things. I think like it just taught me so many like amazing skills. So like I think that's one of my favorite things about it, and just like the motivation to like work towards something that you
How
care
about
about.
matches? Like looking forward to matches?
Oh, yeah.
Or something you
Definitely, like I feel like that's like even with the practices, like our coach always says like that's like why we're here, like that's why like we're at like the early morning lift, and like because like, you know, we all have that same goal, which is like to win our MAC tournament. So like I think that is like such a huge part of it. It's just like the competition.
Right.
Nice. That's awesome.
I know.
That's awesome. How about Elle?
For me, I think, I mean, getting like 1% better at something every single day is like so satisfying. And our coach from school would say like even when you're at like the brink and you don't think you can do more, like you have to just push yourself. And I think that's what I learned all throughout. Like my freshman year, I didn't play at all. I fully like maybe was in a few doubles tournaments, like in the ITAs, like that kind of, you know, but like I didn't do any, you know, competing. I wasn't on the lineup. And then when I trained here at TI that whole summer, I came back, and I feel like I just got this newfound like love for tennis in a way that like competing, I mean, it was always hard for me, for sure. Let's get those wins. It's a little difficult. Because like, you know, you try to have fun with it, but then you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Exactly.
And it's like this crazy balance, but like just pushing yourself to get 1% better each time. And that was like our whole motto on our team, at least. Like when you don't think you can do it, just keep pushing. And even if it's like the tiniest thing, like getting to one more ball, like each practice, like we try to strive for that.
Yeah.
So that's what I think tennis taught me a lot, is like when you don't think you can do something, you really, really can.
Especially when you have your team behind you pushing you through those matches.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's go back. Let's go to Elle next.
Okay, sure.
So I would say, before playing any competition, how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically for the game?
Okay. Mentally, I would listen to Drake.
Okay.
He was like my biggest motivation.
Did you see him? Was it last week, 2 weeks ago?
No, I didn't. I went to like all his concerts though, but I didn't see this one.
Okay. Drake might see this, so get a free ticket to his concert.
If you're watching Drake. Yeah, my favorite song by him is Scholarships, and it's just something that like always motivated me before it. It's like the weirdest thing, but even when I coach the girls that I'm playing with now in high school who want to go and play D1, I say like sing a song in your head, try to calm your nerves. All you have to do is just play your game and have fun with it and try your hardest. And like that was always what my parents told me too. I'd be so nervous for tournaments, especially in like the girls like 14 and under, and my hands would be like shaking because I wanted to perform and show that I can play. And my dad would always just say like, go up there and have fun and just be yourself, like authentic tennis and just trying to like be you the whole time. And then physically, I have like a really bad hip injury. I'm supposed to get surgery for it, but I have not done that. So for me, like the process before playing a match was intense. Like I would always have to do my hip exercises. I'd have to do yoga. If I had like resources for a heating pad, like I'd heat my muscles up, because that's like a huge part of it, like the mental side, but also taking care of your body is like a huge part of tennis. So afterwards too, we'd all do like ice baths, or we'd do like stem, where like the little things that they put on your legs, and it like, I don't know, I'm not describing that properly.
How does that feel? Like,
it's good. It like relaxes your muscles. It kind of gets them like stimulated. And so it like really loosens them up, and it's a big part of the recovery process. And maybe we can put a link in the bio. I did not explain that properly. I didn't go into science, obviously.
but that and ice bath, which one gets you back and to recovery? Which one recovers you back? Faster.
For me, like for my whole body, the ice baths really helped, and for my hip especially, like the stem helped like the most. And I'd go to like the physical therapy, like the athletic trainers would help us throughout the whole process, and my coach was very understanding that like I played high up singles like in my sophomore year, and he said like if you ever need like to just stop and like figure out your body, like you're more than like capable to do that. So I always had those resources and knew that like my body came first with my hip injury, that
Are you a player, like are you before matches, physically, are you a kind of player that likes to hit before the match, or you just want to do a jump go out there and go for it? Do you want to like, hey, fill the card, like get yourself going, or you just like straight jump rope and I'm ready to go? Woo.
Yeah, more that. I never loved hitting before. Like I think, which I mean, you're obviously supposed to. I was always just like so antsy to play, and then I'm like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just go into it. Lose the first 3 games, but then I was the comeback kid because that was my warm up. The first 3 games, and I was losing. Don't tell my coach that.
Coach,
He's getting all the inside scoop on this interview.
How about what would you, before playing any competition?
I think listening to music for sure, like
Drake,
Bad Bunny.
Is it Drake for real?
No, Drake. Okay. More Bad Bunny, I think. But definitely that, and like talking to my parents or friends, or like that helps a lot. And I think physically for me, like kind of the same things as Lauren. Like we have a really good athletic trainer. And then for me, like recently, like just with like how bad I got COVID, like that's been like a really like long process for like getting ready before matches and stuff like that. Just kind of like warming up my body. So yeah, but I'm grateful that like we have like a really good support system on campus, because like even for me, like after I had gotten COVID in March, like I needed to have my blood pressure checked like before and after matches. So like even just like being able to like have athletic trainers there who like could do that, like that were just like so helpful and supportive. Like that was really key for me.
Nice. Lauren and I got a chance to watch you in action.
Yes, oh my god, you did.
A few months ago. How would you say you feel to see your friends, your family, and your mom, your dad was there, everyone was there? So how did you feel? Like, do you feel like, oh my god, my friends are here, my parents are here? Do you feel pressure, or does that bring out the best in you? It's like, you know what, these guys are around me, I'm gonna give all I got. Like, what does that feel like? How does it make you feel?
I think I played better like when people watch. Like I think if I really enjoy like when my family and like friends come. Like I think that just like motivates me to play better, because it's like all that hard work you're putting in. Like you want to like make your family and friends like proud of you, you know. So I think that for me, like I enjoy when people come.
Same.
I
loved it. Oh my god, it was so much fun. Like even when the boys team would watch, we're all family, but I mean it was always fun. And heartwarming feeling that like everything you just trained for like the past 2 weeks, like leading up to this match, like you're able to have that support. It's so nice. Like it literally is a feeling you can't describe. Like your heart just like feels full.
So full.
So I remember clinching a match against Deana, and it was like the most crazy. Like everyone was screaming. We were at the Yale courts, and they had like a huge stadium, and everyone was around. There were like posters, and it was so much fun. And I like clinched it in the third set tiebreak.
Oh my god! It
was that
crazy.
the last match? That was the last match.
Oh, that was my freshman year, I think. It was like the one time that whole year that I had like been able to play like in the lineup.
Yeah.
And I was like really trying to prove myself. And then I fully won like 11-9 or something crazy in the tiebreak. And then that's the summer that I trained super hard to then be able to come back and have those feelings more and more, because those are like the best when you get those opportunities. So I was really grateful to then be on the lineup after that. But
wow, that's awesome.
I got some stories.
So which surface is harder to play on? Clay? You play on clay, grass? Have you played? I mean, clay, hardcore. Have you played on grass?
I played on grass.
How about that? You played on grass?
Maybe a few times, but.
But if you would choose between clay and hardcore, which one is harder? Which one's harder to play?
Clay is harder for me.
Which one is your favorite?
I can't
Which
slide,
one is your favorite?
so.
You can't do that. I can't slide either. It's so difficult.
I like hardcore the best.
Hardcore?
Yeah,
I tell D all the time, just YOLO and just slap it.
that became my entire game.
There was one semester where Deana like won everything, and she was like, "I'm taking your advice and I'm just slapping it
every single ball, just slapping it."
But hardcore for me, and especially indoors, like when it's fast,
So hardcore is harder to play, or your favorite?
It's my favorite.
So clay court is harder too.
Clay court is so difficult.
And why is clay court harder?
Because I like really fast points.
Yeah.
I like to end it super quick too. I'm not like a
grinder,
I'm
like
not a
grinder.
No.
Yeah.
So for me, like the fast pace, like being able to just kind of end the point, like slapping it, so to speak, like hardcore is able to do that like in my wheelhouse, like right when it's in my strike zone, like the point I'll have like average like 2 balls. So for me, like that's the way I like to play, because I'm not good with endurance. Like for me, like I know that's the opposite of tennis and like the way you're supposed to play, but it works for me. And so like clay court slows the points down, and you have to hit a lot of topspin, which I'll also do. Like I really like high deep balls with like a lot of spin. I think that's my other weapon. Besides
slap.
I have a lot of power, so I try to lean into my strengths. I know that I'm powerful. I know that I'm not a good runner.
How about why is clay court harder?
I feel like my game is actually like more consistent, but I
like a grinder.
Your rally ball is like
oh
the
my god,
best
thanks
I've ever
Lauren.
seen.
Thanks
It like motivated me when I was younger. I was like,
and her forehand motivated me. I think it really is just because like I just find moving on clay like a lot harder.
Yeah.
I just like I don't know, like I can't slide, so that makes it really hard, and then it's just a little bit harder for me to move on that surface. But like my game styles should probably work better on clay, so it doesn't make any sense.
We're not your average tennis player.
But do you guys have a men's team? You did.
Yeah, we have one too.
So how is it like having a men's team, traveling together, supporting each other? When I suppose
Sure. We do have a men's team, and we do have a new head coach this year, but in the previous years, our coach was the same for the women and the men.
Oh, okay.
So we would always
train together, practice together.
Like we would practice on, because Maris has like 8 courts, so it's like 4 and 4, and
like
we'd have practice like, at the same time. We'd have lift at the same time. We'd pretty much travel together, and it was really nice. Like just kind of having them as like, you know, they do become your friends, and then also kind of having them like when you're playing to like just cheer you on and like be there to support you. It's just like it's a good like additional support system, I think.
Does it also makes the team feel bigger instead of having like 16? Like now you have
Oh my
like
God.
16 people, you know?
Right, yeah, because everyone knows like the coach. So like, I think if there were two different head coaches, maybe it would be like maybe a little different. But I think like really since we had the same head coach, it was like we're with the same coach every day. We're with the same like athletic trainers. We're with the same like. So at that point, like
schedule, like the same
everything,
Yeah.
So at that point, like you're really bound to like get to know everyone better.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was the same. For me, like they literally all became like my brothers, and we went through all of COVID together as well. So when we were all in the same pods, there was really like only us to all hang out with, and there was like the tennis boy house and then the girl tennis house, and we would all see each other. And I think I had the same head coach as well with the boys, and so like any girls who I had on like different teams, like I had friends on like the rugby team, soccer team, softball, and they were all like, we're so jealous of your guys' relationship with the tennis boys because you guys feel like one big team, and not a lot of like the soccer girls would really hang out with the soccer boys. Like they would have totally separate practices, they'd travel separately, but for us, we traveled all together.
They stayed the same school, like the
same
men's
school,
team. Oh,
yeah.
nice.
And it feels like a lot less lonely because tennis could be a very lonely sport, and I think having the boys there just even like cheering, like they'd be so silly and like kind of try to distract the girls on the other team and like get in their heads. Like it was honestly like that was one of my favorite parts, was having the boys there too.
Are there any challenges being a female athlete?
Whoa, that's a good question. That's deep.
You know, being a female, like the men's team, is that anything, man, the boys can get away with this, or then challenges, so it's like...
That's such a good point. I think, well, just in society, I think a lot of times you have to like work double to prove yourself that you could do something, and I think, wow, I'm stoked. That's such a good question. I feel like my environment that I was in, I think for us, like, we were really accepted and like loved, and I think every single person had like such value on the team no matter what spot you were on. And I think for us, like, we all felt super equal. I know sometimes that's not always the case, so I was very lucky to have an environment where like everyone was supportive, and I didn't face any challenges, I think, by being a female, but I know that that's apparent like in our world today, and it is a huge part of like a lot of like the progression and stuff that's changing in our world. So that's an excellent question. I think I have to think more about it too.
No, but you answered it well, perfectly.
Oh,
I was gonna say we can skip it and come back later,
Yeah.
But how about Dee? Challenges being a female athlete.
I think like a lot of what Lauren said, like I definitely think like that's a huge issue right now, like for sure, and it has been too in history, like and it's definitely something that like needs to be changed, like just like that equality in sports. But I think like thankfully at Marist, I think they do a good job with like really just making sure that like our women's teams are getting the same treatment as our men's teams. But I'm like sure that it's definitely like happened probably on my campus, on other campuses too. But I mean, I do feel thankful that like thankfully I haven't like really felt like our coaches treated our men's team as more than the women's team.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But I gotta think about that one.
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back to that one.
All right. So let's go back to Al.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, obviously not right now, but then campus. So what are some of the on-campus rules for athletes that normal students don't follow? Like as an athlete now, I have to do this. If I'm a regular student, I'll probably at a party. If I can party, I can do it. But what are some of those rules that
there were a lot, honestly. I think it was definitely a commitment for sure that like if you wanted to go out and party and stuff, like that was I guess your prerogative, but it's impossible to perform the next day. So we would have a 72-hour rule, and a lot of the other sports teams had it too, where like you're not allowed to drink, go out like 72 hours before a competition. So anyone, I mean, it is like, it's hard when you have a lot of friends and like you want to go out and socialize. It's a big, you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and I think that was like the biggest one. Even if, I mean, college is obviously not all about like drinking and that, but it's a big part of, I think, when you first go, just meeting people and what everyone thinks is fun to do. So that was a huge thing to give up, like pretty much every single weekend. Like
so like I don't know, like my time I felt like I was my cycle, like I couldn't socialize and I couldn't go out of, I mean, I had an amazing team around me, but I couldn't go out, I couldn't meet other people, and that's also like practice school. Was it the same? Was it the same as you? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it does feel restricting in a way, but also rewarding because
the amount of discipline.
Exactly, and there were so many perks about being an athlete. Like you could choose your classes first. You were able to choose the dorms. Like they understood that you're not living just the normal life of a college kid, and they really do give you like you get a lot back in return for how much you do give to the school. And then another thing that was crazy was like you had to get above a 3.5 GPA.
Oh my God.
So for us, like not only were you expected to perform on the court, but academics were huge for us, and you had to get above a 3.5. So that was something that, I mean, kind of came along with being a student athlete, was like they expected a lot from you, and like basically our coach wanted us to strive for perfection because it's not possible, but you'll get like right below it. That was our motto. So I think that's correlated in a lot of my like day to day, like even in my job now, in my career, like I work in TV, like I said, and I strive every single day like for perfection, to try to not make any mistakes, and like you're bound to make them. It's where your learning curves come from and how you grow as like a human being, so it's inevitable, but it's just you learn so much more in tennis than you think, and it's applicable to every part of your life afterwards. So it teaches you like so much. You know, I'm grateful for it, for the rules that they implemented.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's
no worries.
How about Dee?
A lot of the same like rules. We had the 72-hour rule as well. So like any time before, like when we had a competition, like 72 hours before, it was like no drinking, partying, like none of that. And then same thing with GPA. Like we had a center of like, I think it's student athlete enhancement. So it's like specifically for student athletes, and they have like tutors and professors there. Like, and if you are like not getting a certain GPA, they require you to go and do study hall hours there. And it's a really, really helpful just place for student athletes on campus. And you can even go to like, they provide free tutoring for all student athletes. And just, I mean, there's a lot, I think just the commitment overall is just totally different. Like the experience of going through college as a student athlete versus not as a student athlete is like two totally different experiences, because like even without like the rules, you still have to like be up early, you still have, like Lauren said, like in season it's games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that's basically a sacrifice every weekend to like not socialize with anyone outside of your team, not, you know, so it really is like the whole experience is definitely like a commitment, but it's worth it if like you love it.
If you have to do it again, would you want to be a normal student or a student athlete?
I would definitely do it again, like for sure. Even though in season, I'm like, no way.
Even though our responses seem different.
How about would you do it again?
100%. Like 1,000%. No question, I would, because you have moments of normalcy. Like there's a few weekends, there's a few weeks, like throughout school where you do feel like the normalcy of it all. And like honestly, for me, I feel like Dee and I have talked about it where we're like, I don't think we could live that lifestyle. Like, it
Yeah.
is hard to feel like we end up going to the court anyway.
At that
Like,
point,
a lot of the times, like, it's just so in your nature to want to play and want to, like, you get that itch to compete, like, all summer long. We play here at TI, like,
Right.
6 hours
6
a
hours
day.
each day.
Because it's what we want to do. Like, even people now, like, in high school, like, they go to regular summer camp, and it was just never really how I thrived. I think this type of environment was where I did the best and like what I just always loved to do. So 100% we're doing it. And I think it, like I said, it taught me a lot just and shaped me as like the human that I am. So I have a lot to thank for tennis.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh,
They will
thank
do
you
it again,
for
over and over
having
again. But, so, D?
Yes.
Oh, no, actually, L.
Oh,
So, does the tennis team get the same treatment as other athletes, like football, basketball, volleyball? Do you guys get the same treatment? Or being a tennis player, you get a special treatment? Or like...
Well, we had tennis courts at our school and then they got taken away. So, and it was for like the better of the school. I think like obviously the decision was out of our hands and not in our control. And that was a moment where like we all felt I guess neglected by the school and just like saddened by the choice where like our home, so to speak, was like taken from us and a beautiful facility got put in. So like there were no complaints, which we had like access to and we were able to use, and it benefited the school in general. And that was like the one moment where we didn't feel like the treatment was the same to the other sports that had like the on-campus site for their like competitions. And we in return though got like amazing access to one of the facilities down the road, and they treated us like that was our home. And like we did obviously feel like later down the line it like evened out, but that was like the one moment of school where we were all so sad because like the place that we had committed to and like the courts that we loved were taken out. But I think it all made us stronger in the end as well, and like it showed us that like even with the hardships like we could come back around and be together and like really like strengthen the bond of the team, because the boys and the girls would use those courts, and so I think it just made us all stronger and closer knowing. But I think they gave us all amazing resources like football, basketball, volleyball. Like we all had like amazing lift coaches, all the same resources to like recovery and treatments, and like we got an amazing trip like in Florida, and not a lot of teams got to do that. We traveled because of how small we were too, like our budget was a little less, so we were able to go like amazing places, and each spring break like take really fun trips. So I think in the end like it all evens out. Yeah. Anyway.
Same question or?
But different answer.
I think like I feel like in terms of like resources it's all the same. Like you know, we all get media day, we all get, you know, like at the athletic training center and you know the free tutoring and all that, but we also like something we do talk about like on our student athlete board is like just scholarship like per teams, and that was like a really interesting conversation because like tennis doesn't have as much scholarship as like basketball and lacrosse, so that was like something we talked about. Just like I don't know if it's like in the NCAA or like within
maybe funding,
but I know that like tennis isn't like as like high funded as some other sports in college sports, so like it does lead to some lack of like opportunity, I think. But in terms of like at college on campus, I do feel like we're given a lot. Like our tennis team, like we're going to Orlando this March to like compete at the U.S. Tennis Center, and I think there's like definitely things too with like our team being small that we're able to do that other teams with like 50 people can't do. But in terms of like funding though, like I think, you know, like our basketball team went to Dublin, you know, so like we went to Europe, we probably won't do that. So like things like that where like definitely like some sports that have more funding, like I think are able to do some more things than like we would probably do.
Right.
Okay, moving to the next questions. So, how competitive is college tennis for
How
you?
competitive?
Yeah.
Really competitive. I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly I think competing before college, like UST, like that was very competitive, but then like getting to college was like a different level because like your teammates are on the court, your coach can be on the court with you, like it's just such a like loud environment that like I feel like I just wasn't, not that I wasn't used to it, but it's definitely like a different experience.
Do you
It's
feel pressure?
I felt so much pressure my freshman. I remember like the challenge matches made me want to throw up.
They're so nerve-wracking.
That's probably like the most pressure like I felt throughout my college experience when like because it's like with other sports, it's not that it's not as easy, but like with tennis you can just have like two people go play each other and then whoever wins, your coach will place higher. So that was how my coach like determined the lineup. Was he just had everyone play everyone, whoever beat who played at that spot. So I was like freaking out that whole week because I was like, I can't go take down everyone.
It's easier to get ranked on that based on
exactly on other things.
Yeah, other than like a team sport where it's more performance. It's not as number game.
Right.
Of like
tennis.
Yeah. Like she beat you 6-2.
Yeah, exactly. So that was definitely, I felt a lot of pressure, and like I think over the years I'm just kind of like learning to put less pressure on myself because like my freshman year I put so much pressure on myself that it really overwhelmed me. Yeah. Whereas now going into like my senior year, like we're gonna have challenge matches, but I'm like, you know what, like it's not gonna like define me if I how I do in this. So, but I think each year
too.
Exactly, yeah. But I like the competitive sense of tennis. It's been like of college tennis. It's definitely I think been my favorite.
What would you say the difference between playing an ITF, you play like the L5, L4 events, UTR matches and all? What would you say the difference between that and a college?
I think college is just more like I think the difference is like in like the L5s or like the UTR matches, like it's kind of just you, and then like you're whoever's watching you is like either inside or like you know on the sidelines, but like in college like it feels like they're on the court with you. Like I feel like even like you know if you clinch a match, like your team can run on the court and like and, you know, and it's like, or even just being able to like have your coach sit on the court with you is like a really different experience because like you can't really do you can't do that in
you feel like disqualified.
No, fully.
You like USTA like you're out.
So I think that, and like even like sometimes we'll have our media crew come and like film the matches, and it's just fun. Like I think there's just like a sense of college tennis that is just so different in that way, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, I agree.
What would you say prepared you towards being able to handle those moments?
TI camp. I'm not even like literally.
I owe everything.
I think I feel like a lot of it was just like starting so young too. Like since I started at 4 and like I can't even remember the day when I didn't play tennis or I wasn't competing on the weekends or you know putting like so many hours in. So like I feel like at the time that like I was ready to play college tennis, I was like prepared for that, especially like with like the UTR matches. And I feel like even though like you can't have like that college kind of sense on the court, you're still like competing, you're still playing matches, so you still kind of have like that match play experience. And then when you get to college, it's just kind of gets better in my opinion because you can have like your family and friends out there with you.
Wow, that's nice. It's nice. All right, let's turn over to Lauren. All right. So, what would you say during college times? She's not in college anymore. But how was it like? How was it like?
The competitiveness
compared to USTA tournaments you played.
Well, I think it was honestly some of the most competitive matches I've had, especially with like a lineup where you're based on like 1 through 6, like you're really compatible with the person, unless they stacked or something, which like you know wasn't technically legal, but it was really close matches. And even when we used to do like clinch matches with like or challenge matches with our own team, like those were extremely close too, like down to like tie breaks of who would play over who. Like it was very, very competitive. competitive. And I think like you wanted to perform so well each time so that you proved yourself each tournament so that you could stay on the lineup. And it was like we would switch quick. Like things would be like, oh, if you didn't play well that match, like we're switching you. So like it was like such pressure that like even when you did well one tournament, you're like, okay, I gotta get right back in the mode so that I do well again. And I think that that's like a huge part of where you can't slack. Like your highs and lows can't be like this. Like you have to stay here to ride the wave of like staying on the lineup.
And with the sorry, Scott.
Oh no.
With the lineup, right? Do you just play a trial like at the end of the at the beginning of the season, and then wherever it's one place for the rest of the season, or it's like every 2-3 weeks, every month, practice match? How does that work?
We did it in the beginning of each season, and then as the tournaments went on throughout the semester, he would kind of like see and gauge where we were and like kind of evaluate like, oh, if you're winning like crazy at number 2 and like number 1 is just barely getting by, like they would switch so that like you give the number 1 girl an opportunity to win a little bit easier at 2, or if you're playing 6 and like you just barely won like 7-5, like you would maybe reevaluate those scores and like see who might be stronger to play at number 6. And like if number 3 gets like wiped out, like it was
so
very reflective.
And when he does that, just you don't have to play any match against the 3. You just do it based on how the player's performing. And
I think performance, and also like in the earlier years, like when I had first joined, like before really proving yourself of like the kind of player that he ends up knowing that you are, you could challenge the girl ahead of you. You can only challenge like one spot.
Yeah, it was honestly for us too.
And so like it was super close, like always. And one match I remember it went like 6-4, 7-5, like the 15-13 or something crazy in the tie break, and then you would end up switching based on like just those 2 points.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was some of the most competitive matches I've had to play, and like that overwhelmingness, like it teaches you a lot. And like even deuce points, like you in
the
USTA,
deuce was such a change.
In USTA, it's like advantage whoever in or out, and with us, like in college, you have to just play the point, and so like you can lose 6-0, 6-0, and it's
fully
all deuces. And you're like, well, that didn't go according to plan.
But with that, right, with the whole, challenge and trying to get in front of whoever is playing 2 or whoever is playing 1, did that bring any misunderstanding in the team? How do you guys manage moments like that so it doesn't run at the team that you guys are against on the school? Because you guys are a team, but now with this competition, I'm trying to take the one out. After that moment, how do you guys deal with that moment so it doesn't ruin the bigger goal of the bond? And
such a good question, and I think we all felt the pressure to keep our spot, and we all knew we were going through it, and I think it bonded us even more. Like every type of like hardship that we faced made us all stronger together. And like I think we all had such a family oriented like mentality that it was never like we were going at each other for the spots. Like if anything, we understood like it's okay, and like if we were being switched, like it was for the better of the team. Like we always had like the greater outlook for just competing and winning against the schools, because like Dee said, like the biggest thing is to win like your MAC tournament, and for us it was the NECs. Like we knew like to put that aside, and like tennis was tennis, and then our friendships were our friendships. And I think that like comes with being an athlete, is being able to compartmentalize those thoughts and just know that it's for like the greater good of your whole team. So,
wow. Let's cycle today, final year of college. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh my God.
I'm really excited. Like I feel like this is like almost like I think the best I felt going into it in the weirdest way. It's very like bittersweet, because I'm like, I can't believe in a year like I have to end this chapter of like playing competitive tennis. I mean, I'll always play, but like not competitively after. So like that's definitely like very bittersweet. But like I think going into it though, like this is probably I think the best I felt. I think I just feel less nerves now. Like I feel like I have just like a better kind of outlook on it. I'm not like putting as much pressure on myself, and I'm just like trying to just have fun this year too.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Going into final year,
Mm-hmm.
is there any how should I put it? Is there anything you're looking to go in with, like the mindset? Okay, I'm looking to go into win all my matches for this final year. I'm looking. Are you going in with any intention? Let's say intention.
Yeah.
Goals.
Goals.
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking to go in with?
I mean, our coach kind of always says like our like unified goal is like go and win the MAC tournament. Like that's like what we like work towards. So that I think would definitely be like our unified goal, like for sure. I think like my sophomore year I did like I was really happy with the way that I played, and then junior year like I had a lot of health just challenges, so I didn't really get to play as much. I was like pretty much off the court from like February to June. I didn't play at all, so I'm just like so excited to like get back out there because I missed like a lot of my junior year. So I think just like being able to go back out and play is like what I'm really excited about.
That's good. Good luck.
Thanks.
So let's come to Lauren. So what is it like after graduating from college? What was the the whole crazy routine? Now what does it feel like?
Oh wow.
Not having to deal with the matches and everything.
I think at first you feel like you lose like a part of yourself because it's so oriented in your day to day and like the way that your lifestyle is structured. And so for me, like I think I had a hard time adjusting at first. But then you learn to like love tennis in a different way where you aren't playing for your team, you're not playing for your scholarship, you're not playing for a coach, like you're literally just doing it to do it. And I think you find like a whole nother love for tennis in a weird way. Like you close that chapter and then you circle back like and you play for yourself and you just remember like why you love it, and even just like hitting a clean forehand, like, it just brings you joy. And like I've been coaching with some girls, like I said, like who want to play in college, and I've just been like their hitter recently. But then I'm also training this one girl who's like 12, and I think you just have like a new sense of the outlook of tennis too. Like I'm teaching her and I'm relearning things that like I forgot about, and then I'm playing better in these situations because you look at tennis as more of like a puzzle piece or like a chess game, and like trying to relearn it and teach someone, like you relearn those skills, and it's just all at like your own time. Like you just play when you want to play or you don't play. And like I first graduated and I didn't play for like 4 months, and then after that I picked up a racket and it was as if like I had never stopped. So there is a scariness to it because when you do close a chapter, like that newness and that change of what life can bring is obviously scary, but it's very exciting. And Dee, I think you're gonna love it. Like you never stop competing. Like you'll play tournaments or you'll play like doubles here and there for fun, and like maybe some practice matches, or you'll still be like a hitter, but you just really enjoy it, and like you have like a nostalgic outlook for what life was with tennis, but it's really fun moving forward.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you miss the most about college and college tennis?
I miss my team so much. Honestly, I really do. Like I just loved traveling, and I loved feeling like, it's gonna sound kind of cheesy, but like important on campus. Like I loved walking around knowing like I was an athlete, and like you have this sense of like leadership about you throughout the campus, because I feel like everyone admires your role of being a college student and an athlete all together. So I miss that, and the competitiveness for sure, because now I have like a wholesome outlook of tennis where I'm teaching like little girls and we're like having so much fun, and it's like all the basics, or like I'll train with girls and like play against them as if it's college, but it's not like the same exactly. So it's a bittersweet 4 years of knowing like you won't get that same feeling back. So I think I missed that competitiveness for sure. And I miss my coach too. He taught me like so much just about life in general, and like time management, and being like the best version of yourself each day and like really giving it your all. So I think I miss like the structure that he had set up for us, and like I do it for myself now, but he held us at such a high standard that it was like the best version of who I was. Like I loved those 4 years. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Dee, what would you say your favorite college moment is? So far.
There's been like so many that like I've really loved. I think I really like the team bonding stuff that we did this year. We went to Niagara Falls for our team. That was so much fun. That was just a really like good opportunity because like we do so much on the court, but then to get to like just see everyone in like that environment, like with our coaches too, like and not have to do tennis is also like really nice. That was an awesome weekend. But I think probably my freshman year, we only played 2 matches because of COVID. So I think just my first match ever, because it was my first match and win.
Yeah.
So like having your team out there on the court with you, like men's team, women's team were playing at the same time, and it was just such a cool feeling because it was like my first ever college tennis match. So I was like, I heard about it, but then like actually doing it was just like so awesome. Like I would say that was definitely like my favorite moment, or even that was my favorite moment competing, and then also like the trip, and then I'm also with the student athlete board. I went to Disney in this past November, and it was awesome. Like we did a lot for like mental health, talking about like representation in sports, and we did a lot of community service. Like that whole trip was like awesome, and I got to meet other athletes on like lacrosse, softball. Like within our conference, so that was a really good experience too.
That's nice. Yeah. That's awesome. So rounding up this, I have a couple random questions. I do ask now related to college, a lot of amazing stuff. But let's go with Elle first.
Sure.
What is your hobby outside of tennis?
My hobby? I have really random different ones. So
what are your hobbies then?
Yes, hobbies. Okay, so my number one would be to read, but like I'm so bad at reading. Like I really like need to do better about it. So reading is one. And then I love to draw and paint. Like for me, that's like my favorite thing. That's so therapeutic for me. Like I love like even if it's just journaling, like just writing, drawing. I actually, fun fact, made like a whole tennis dress line when I was in school for fashion, and I designed and drew and hand painted like an entire tennis dress line of like what I would design if I had like to do it. It was like a really cool project, and it lasted like the whole semester, and I got an A+. No, I'm kidding. So those are mine, and then also my sisters and I have a blog. It's called Ciero Style on Instagram, and we style clothes and basically model like for Instagram. So yeah, that would be like my 3 main hobbies: reading, drawing, and styling clothes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like it's so hard because like, you do tennis all day. I have no other hobbies, but
golf.
I'm a really good golfer now.
Okay.
Guys, we are Rory McIlroy.
Probably I love travel. Like if I have an opportunity to travel, like I would always take it. Like I went to Italy in June. That was awesome. That was super fun. I might go skiing in December, so we'll see how that goes. I also do like to journal as well. Like that I really enjoy. And then honestly, like anything with like psychology or social work. That's like I would say like something I'm really passionate about. So that's what I want to do post college.
You have such a big heart. That's like
no,
your
you
other
do,
hobby.
Lauren.
Like literally just being you is like your hobby. Like you have just
She
spread,
does.
you spread love and kindness throughout the world. Like, you just radiate like love. So
she
do
does.
you.
Sadiq does too.
A question? I thought I was supposed to be asking the question. Wait, I thought I was supposed to be asking the question. Alright.
I need to know how you stay so like consistent and motivated because like throughout all these years of knowing you, I feel like you are so steady. Like you're such a good person at heart, but you have such motivation and like you just have like such a good lifestyle about you. So
Oh.
No, it's true. It's true.
This is the Lauren podcast.
Whoa.
How do you do that? Like, what are your like? I don't even know what the question is, but how are you so amazing?
How do you do it, Sydney?
Well,
Yeah, fully.
I'm not ready for this question. But it's, I don't know, to be honest. Just, growing up.
Mhm.
I don't know, you guys caught me on that. You guys caught me on that really right. Can we cycle back to all this question?
Our videographer is saying no behind the scenes.
So, I don't know. Let's cycle back to
We'll give me some time to cycle
yeah, give me
back.
some time, and I would cycle back to this. Okay.
You can
Because we gotta cycle back to 1, 2.
That one.
Wow, no one has ever took away my podcast from me. But can we cycle back to this?
Sure. We want to know more about you as the host. Even if it's like how you grew up, or like the mentality that like was instilled in you, or like if it was tennis that taught you this, or if it was how you were raised, or like just like the motto that you live by in life. Like for me, it's like kindness always. Like kindness matters, and like all that stuff. Like kind of structured the way I view things, so I guess like your outlook on life. Oh, we can circle back.
Yeah,
We'll circle back.
We can circle back,
We'll
but
run it back,
we'll do that. Let's do that back. It's gonna take hours.
We're gonna be like circling back the last like 40 minutes.
All right, so leading to my next question. Let's say winter or summer. Favorite season, winter, fall, summer.
Oh, summer, because it's my birthday.
Summer.
My birthday too. Yeah, summer.
Summer is your favorite. Favorite city in the world?
Maybe New York City.
New York City.
I think New York, yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
I've been to LA and it wasn't the vibe.
What
I
is it about New York City that makes it your favorite city in the world?
Well, right now my sisters live there and it feels like home to me because they're there also. I get overwhelmed by it because like my anxiety gets like spiked there, but having them, like they live right by the water and I've found like just a new calmness to it, and there's like just endless opportunities. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of same. Yeah.
Same.
I have a lot of family who lives in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hopefully like post college, like can go like to school in the city. That's my hope. I love New York City.
I took
so-
fashion classes there in the city too, and that like really sparked my
Yeah.
creativity. I went to FIT after school, so I think that's like home for me too. Yeah.
If you were to travel to a different city that you have not been before, you've never been before, where would that be? A city around the world?
Oh my god. This is hard.
This is gonna sound so stupid, but
I'm okay to cycle back.
um,
I'm okay to cycle back. Okay.
what's like a city is? Oh my god! Wait, we need to cut this out if this sounds ridiculous. But like, I want to go to Hawaii so bad, but does Hawaii have any cities? Like no one knows, right? So
Wait,
we'll
say
say
yeah, there.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Hawaii.
Hawaii?
I
That's nice, you love it there.
I want to go so bad.
probably I think Greece or
Yes.
like Mykonos. I
Yeah.
think.
Ooh.
That was nice, not there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see. I really want to go.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see maybe.
Alright, favorite country? I mean, what country would you want to visit? I know you want to go to Greece.
Where I want to visit.
Yeah. Okay, let me rephrase it. Where would you live? Outside of New York, where would you live? What country would you like live outside of the United States?
Oh my god, this is hard. Maybe this is really hard. Okay. I have so many.
These are harder than the tennis questions.
This is like completely.
So I honestly either like the two countries from where I'm from, either the Dominican Republic or Italy.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Either Italy or Ireland, because
Yeah,
a lot of
'cause I'm
family
from
there.
over
And,
there,
yeah, me too.
So either one of those.
Or favorite food?
Oh my god, pasta with tomato sauce or marinara and ricotta cheese.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hands
Sounds
hands
good.
down, guys. I had it last night. To this day. The best.
Mine gotta be my mom's tacos.
Oh,
Oh,
Sadiq,
I missed that.
Sadiq,
Oh my god.
cancel.
Can we do that
Sadiq
again? Can we
cancel.
run that again?
So
Okay.
good.
so good.
Yeah.
Sandra's cooking and
Yeah, oh my god. Anything
got it.
on-
Shout out to Sandra.
Shout out Sandra.
so good.
Yeah,
Alright.
honestly, anything my mom cooks, that
Fully.
is just
So
great. Like,
Favorite drink?
Like what kind of drink?
Okay. All right. We're going. We're gonna go with favorite drink every. Let's say every time we're going. Oh, okay. Let's go. With
Okay. Like If-
Non-alcohol.
alright, let's start wholesome. I love Sprite. That's like my guilty
Same.
pleasure. Like
Same.
fully. Oh my god. But like I wasn't allowed to drink it growing up. My parents were really like strict. Like all organic food, no
Yeah.
soda. Like we were raised like it was a like goldfish in the house would be like whoa, like oh my god, like that's a treat. So that's my guilty pleasure. But like just water with like lemon is my favorite also. But ice water, it has to be iced.
yeah,
don't
same.
like
I don't like it
warm.
warm.
And then alcohol wise is red wine. It's my go-to. It'll be like a hot, gross summer day, and like if we go to a rooftop, like I'll get red wine fully. It's just it has always worked for me. I never get hangovers. I don't get sick. Just pivoted from tennis, but yes, red wine.
All right, let's see. D.
I think non-alcoholic Diet Coke is probably like it has to be from McDonald's. Diet Coke from McDonald's.
Specifically from
It's amazing.
McDonald's.
No, it's
Okay,
like
McDonald's
so
getting a free promotion right here.
Shout out
They should
BT.
reach out to you for a check. But
alcoholic red sangria, like that is like
I could do
my
that.
favorite ever. It's just like fruity and like perfect, and it's great. Yeah.
That's a vibe.
All right, rounding this up, I know I've said it before, but where do you see yourself in the next, let's say, short time? I don't know. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? 2 to 3 years?
Yeah. I mean, right now I love my job. Like, I'm so obsessed with it. I think it's really rare to find that right out of college, and I've had such good, like, growing opportunities there, and I feel like I've really, like, found myself in my creative flow, and my boss has been amazing. She gives everything to us and is, like, sets us up for success in, like, every single way, and I've learned so much from her. She's so knowledgeable and like really, really, really cares for her employees, and she has such a passion for her work, and like her work ethic is so like it's beyond anything I've seen. So I see myself still at this job fully. Like I want to continue to learn and grow and like move up in the company and help in any ways that I can. And I saw myself in fashion when I had first graduated, but now TV and media, and like it's just given me such a different outlook on life, and like learning so many different things, and like how you can be creative and still structured but like have fun and learn. Like I think I'm gonna stick to TV and production and media. Yeah, I really want to stick to it and learn as much as I can and grow in this field. And like is fashion like here and there, like spurts of it, like I'll style her outfits, or I'll like help with a certain like production that we do, and like it like the creativeness still flows with it, and I think it's a perfect like well-rounded industry for me. So I'm definitely gonna stay in TV.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There with a little bit of fashion on it. Where do you see yourself? I know, of course, graduating college soon.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I think for me, like, well, actually, this fall I'm gonna be like applying to programs to get my MSW, which is Master's in Social Work. So then my goal is to go get my Master's in Social Work, and then eventually, like, you work for like 5 years with your MSW, and then you can take another exam to get your clinical, and that basically like allows you to like work in a private practice or just to be like a licensed therapist. So I think that's probably like what I'd want to do. I'd probably want to work in maybe a hospital, like an in or outpatient, or maybe a private practice, but I'm not too sure. But I know definitely like post college I want to get my MSW, probably like hopefully in the city, but we'll see.
That's awesome.
My ear. Oh my
Such a
god,
bright light.
oh my god.
We lost it here. It's all good.
All right, so final questions for today's episode. Who should I start the final questions? We started with L, right? So let's close it with Deana.
Okay.
All right. What advice can you give to somebody who is interested in playing college tennis? A young kid in the clinic, kid looking forward to Deana, looking forward to playing D1 college, looking forward to go pro, whatever. What's that advice that you can give to this kid watching this?
I think just like always believe in yourself, and honestly like just have fun and don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think but I think like just really to believe in yourself. Like that was the biggest thing for me. Was I was like I just kind of like had that confidence and like I can do this. Like I can play college tennis, and I think just like I worked really hard. Like we were at the camp for like 6 hours Monday to Friday, and you know it takes like that sacrifice, but like it was so worth it for me because I just like loved it, and just the people that we were around, and like the coaches and everything, and that just made it so fun. I feel like my parents used to always tell me to like, they're like, just smile, like when you play, like just smile, and I used to be like, that's so like, why would I do that? And but it honestly like helps so much. Like when I play, like I kind of just think in my head like, just smile, like it's gonna be okay. Like, and honestly, I think that would be my biggest advice to someone who wants to play, or to my younger self, was just like try to not like put that added pressure on yourself, and just have fun and just do your best.
Fully.
I think.
All right.
Let's
see. We have a young tennis player when I played D1 college, amazing, maybe student or pro. What advice is it you want to give to that kid that's looking up to you?
I would say don't let fear hold you back. I think there's thanks.
Don't let fear hold you back.
Yeah, there's so many unknowns, and like you can freak yourself out by comparing yourself to other people. You can say, I'm not good enough. Like, it's so much easier to cloud your head with negative thoughts and like run away from taking that extra step and putting yourself out there. But I would email like coaches that I knew wouldn't reply, but just for the sheer sake of like believing in myself, I would do it. And I think that's the biggest part, is go for the risks, like take them, because you just never know who's gonna reply. Like Sacred Heart was my top school, and I was thrilled when I was like, it was the best fit for me. And I think a lot of people were scared to really put themselves out there and just go for what they wanted. And I think it's easy to compare yourself to other girls too, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or like I'm not cut out for this, or someone's gonna take my spot, or I won't get a scholarship. And like, it's so easy to just talk yourself out of it. But if you just stay positive and you tell yourself like, I can do this, and I'm meant for this, and this is like what I want to do, like it will come to you. I think manifesting a life for yourself is huge, and like having that belief in you, because not a lot of people will believe in you, and when you find the people who will, like, you know, that's your family and friends for life. But other people get jealous and they want to knock you down, and it's easy for them to want to take your spot. So I think you have to be there for yourself. So no self-doubt, just go for it. No self-doubt.
That's a good one. That's awesome. Listen, I want to thank you guys so much for stopping
Thank you for
by.
having us.
Thank you.
It was so much fun.
Thank you so
Oh my
much.
gosh,
Thank you so much.
literally the best.